wasn't even by the time I decided like, okay, I'm gonna try this, I wasn't even looking necessarily like or even thinking about like how am I gonna do it. It was more like I'm just gonna do it. I'm just gonna start. And the how will come, but my why is solid. And it reminds me of this video somebody sent me on Instagram, and it's like when the why is strong, the how becomes easy. So that's probably the big thing. Just know your why and just get started and don't let like doubt creep in. And because there's going to be questions you don't have the answers to, especially if they're big goals like this. And if you let those unanswered questions stop you, then you'll never, I feel like that's probably the recipe for failure is being too concerned with how you're going to make it happen rather than just getting started and addressing those hows whenever they come up.
Running 100 miles seems impossible, and maybe even kind of crazy. And it is, but we believe in big crazy dreams. That's why we ran 100 miles. It was such a life-changing experience for us, we decided to devote this podcast to preparing and inspiring you to run your first ultra race.
Are you ready to feel the highest highs and the lowest lows? Are you ready to do what you once thought was impossible? Are you ready for your trail to 100? Thank you for joining me here on Trail to 100, the podcast made to help you finish your first 100-mile race. My name is Jacob Bateman, and today I am joined, as per usual, by my beautiful and lovely wife, Melody. Now, today is the debut of our Steps to a 100-Mile Race series. We interviewed 7 different athletes, all who want to achieve the 100-mile distance one day, but have yet to achieve it. And so they are all at different steps, different journeys. Some are just barely starting their journey, which you'll hear today with Dakota Goosby. And some are really close to their journey and going to be running their 100 this year. And just a little spoiler, one of them has already ran his 100, but we interviewed him before that after his first 50-miler. So we'll have to bring him back on, but he's later on in the week. So yeah, that's right. Every day this week, we'll be releasing an episode. Now, these are more short form interviews, so we tried to keep them under 30 minutes. And we basically wanted to hear people's thoughts as they progress towards that 100-mile journey. Now, 100 miles normally doesn't happen overnight. So that's why we wanted to bring on guests who aren't there yet, but are scrapping, fighting, doing whatever they can to progress and get to that next step, because it's a step-by-step process. So our first guest I'm very excited about is Dakota Goosby. Now, Dakota is trying to go, he's calling it from couch to Cocadona. That's right. Last year, he was sitting on his couch last May watching Cocadona happen, and something clicked inside of him to where he decided, I'm going to try to run that next year. So Dakota is signed up for the Cocadona 250. So we talked to him when he was about a month into his journey. As you can tell, he's progressed further than that by now, but he had some valuable insights about how to just get started on that journey and how to get over that hump, because oftentimes that is the toughest part is to just fully commit. So a big thank you to Dakota for coming on. So let's get to it. Well, Dakota, thank you so much for joining us today. We are super excited to have you on the podcast. I remember coming across your Instagram account and I was like, this guy is exactly the kind of person we try to seek
Jacob
after.
was excited.
And
he's like, I just
to.
found the coolest dude.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I saw like your day 3 post was like the first one I saw, and I was like, who is this guy? Like, I love it. So Dakota, you are doing a project called Couch to Cocadona, where it sounds like in 1 year time frame, you're going to go from not being much of a runner to lining at the start line at Cocadona 250. So tell us a little bit about who you are, even outside of, this goal, and what brought this goal upon to where you thought, I'm gonna do this.
Yeah, so obviously my name's Dakota. My full name's Dakota Goosby, but Dakota runs on TikTok and everything else. I'm originally from Alabama, 30 years old now, and kind of like what started this was um, I had turned 30 and I was just like, dang, I'm starting to, I'm getting older and I haven't really like done anything super notable other than working, and I work at a hospital like you sounds like you work at the hospital too, or a hospital.
Yeah.
Um, I'm a pharmacy tech, and yeah, I don't know, just the day to day was kind of starting to feel stagnant, and I wanted to make some changes, and I wanted to take care of or take advantage of this youth that I still do have. And yes, it is initially started out as like I wanted a summer hobby, and it was either going to be mountain biking or running, and Andy Glaze popped up on my TikTok. And I was like, this is cool. I'm not sure about that distance, but I'm going to start running. And there was a 5K initially. I had just bought my first pair of shoes in Flagstaff whenever Andy finished. So I got to meet him, talked to him. He gave me like some good advice on like not trying to do too much too fast.
Oh, so you went to the finish line at Cocadona and met Andy.
I did, yes.
Oh, cool.
Wait, and his advice to you was don't do too much too fast?
Yeah, essentially he was just like, whenever you first start, your body is going to be, you need to run and walk and don't be afraid of like walking and stuff like that. And yeah, I just kind of went crazy, I guess. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to try for the 250. And worst case scenario, like I'm going to be healthier, just a better person overall than whenever I started. So I know some people don't like that thought process, but for me, it makes it to where like there really is no failure. I'm going to try as hard as I can. And at the end of it, there's going to be positives that come out of it no matter what. And that's kind of like the thing that keeps me driven, I guess, is that this is going to be for the greater like good in it at the end of it, no matter what, if that makes any sense.
So no matter if like a DNF happens or whatever, like the journey you took to even get to the start line will hopefully have changed you for the better.
Exactly. It's kind of, it sounds corny, but like the journey is almost as much of it to me as like the end goal.
Well,
so
no, that's amazing. We actually just had a guest on, and what did he say? Dustin Booker. He said he saw the race as the exclamation point, but
that's like the reward for the training.
The training is the sentence. So the bulk of everything, like the training, the journey, that's it. That's where it's at. The race is just the piece of cake on top.
Like the celebration.
The piece of cake on top.
Yeah.
The cherry on top.
Piece of cake on top that's gonna drive you to madness. So
no,
I like that. I like that a lot.
I just want to say I think that's awesome. And you mentioned that, some people don't. I'm sure you've had some people maybe give you some flack for like, that's a really big goal, but I think that's awesome. I think it's so awesome because I think just to sign up for a goal that big, that takes a lot of guts. And I'm sure some people who might give you flack for that, it's probably coming from their own insecurities, their own fears. I think it's awesome. I think having a really big goal and just going for it is amazing. So seriously, super awesome.
Definitely have gotten some flack. A lot of people that say it's insane, it's impossible, that I'm stupid, like pretty much call me stupid. And it's like, I don't know, it's possibly impossible, but I won't know until, you don't know until you try. And if you fail, or if I DNF or anything else, like it's still possibly impossible. Like I can still try again and just keep going at it.
That's the thing. David Goggins ran 100 miles without training. Yeah. I mean that crazy stuff happens. You just got to go for it. So.
Yeah, I've been listening to, or just got done listening to his book, and some of the stuff he did was crazy, and that made me kind of think like, he says, even in his book, he says, don't try to do it the way I did it, because
Yeah.
it's straight up suck. He's like, just focus on getting a little bit better every day. And
Yeah.
that's kind of what I've been doing.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
So how have you started this, journey with, okay, you sign up, you're like, okay, I'm going to do this. What have you figured out? Like, how have you started it?
Yeah, so initially, like whenever I posted my first video, I just downloaded an app that I had downloaded before called Couch to 5K. It's just like a little app, and it makes a little plan for you, and I like it. But quickly realized that like it wasn't gonna. I mean, it would get me to the 5K, but after that, like I was gonna need more structure, and I was gonna need to do a lot more. So I had a guy reach out to me. He's my coach now. His name's Hagen McHenry, and he made a plan. I showed it to y'all um, every day. So there's 2 workouts a day, every day for the next 45 weeks or so, whatever distance
Nice.
it is to Cocadona. And it's like, it's tentative. We can change stuff as it comes up. If like I'm like looking at the week and I'm like, that's not enough miles, or hey, this week I'm kind of feeling bad. Let's do it down my week or something like that. We can change it as needed. But that's a big thing, was like getting this plan concrete, because I knew that at some point there's a switch. I feel like you can train for a marathon, but getting up into the 100 miles, it's like I don't think you can train for that the same way. And that was a big thing. Then my diet and like time management has been the biggest thing that I'm having to learn. Because like, whenever before I was doing this, I would just wake up an hour before work and hang out with the dog and, go to work. But now it's like, oh, I have a workout I need to do. I also need to make sure I'm eating healthy. So I can't just like throw, order DoorDash. I mean, I guess you can, but
Yeah.
eating healthy. So I have to wake up earlier to get all of that in. And it's been a lot of like learning and a lot of trials and errors already, and it's only been a month. So yeah, I'm excited for everything I'm going to learn.
Yeah. It's like a part-time job, isn't it?
Yeah, and whenever the first week of this thing, I had to like make myself get off the phone, because it was exciting seeing everybody that was so supportive, and I wanted to respond to everybody, but like also have to like,
Put
have
in
my
the work.
life. Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, go run. So like today, I've kind of started like giving myself on off days where I'm just in the moment and I'm not worried about the social media for a little while, just to give myself a little break. But
Dude, you're going to do this. You're going to do it. And this is why I know you're going to do it, because I've seen a lot of people set really big goals and they're like, okay, I'm changing my nutrition and here's my running plan and I'm never going to miss a day and I just feel like you have the best attitude of, you know what, we're going to learn. You know what, the schedule is tentative. Wow, I've been learning a lot. It's okay to order DoorDash sometimes, like it's you can't go in with these expectations of like, I'm going to be perfect and do everything right. And I feel like you have this awesome attitude of like, dude, I'm just going to learn. I'm just going to take it a day at a time. We're shooting for this big thing. And we're just like, I'm going to fail, but I'm going to learn. And that's why you're going to do this.
yeah, it's I mean, just I ran the 6K on Friday, 13K on Saturday, and like I made mistakes. I realized like my training wise, the trails I've been running on were nowhere near as like technical as I needed to be. So I wasn't confident with like running on a lot of it, because I was like, how are people doing that? Like I feel like I'd break my ankle. So one thing I'm going to do moving forward is go back to that same trail and more trails, and just get comfortable with that footing and knowing like, hey, this looks sketchy, but I've ran on this before and I know how to. And I think that's a big thing. And then I forgot to put KT tape on the back of my ankles, because the 6K, I started getting blisters. And then, yeah, I just completely forgot. So like 2 miles into the 13K, I was already like had blisters, and I was like, oh, this is we're gonna have to push through this, but we did, and yeah, it's a lesson learned. Like at the very least, I'm probably gonna always have some KT tape in my vest, so that if something does start popping up, I can just stop and address it.
Yeah.
Totally. Dude, this is awesome.
So you talk about the things that you just learned in these 2 races that you just completed. Was that 13K the longest distance you ever ran so far?
So far.
That's awesome. Yeah. Congrats, man. That's
before that it had been like 6 miles or something.
Yeah.
Way to go, man. That's sweet.
Pushing the new distances is always an achievement worth noting. So, was there any, so you had the things that you learned, was there any like confidence boosters or anything that came from the race? Or
you're like, oh, I did this right.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the biggest thing was once I got done with the 13K, and yeah, like the 6K, my legs started feeling good at like 3.5 miles. Like I was at the end of the race, and all of a sudden I was like, I feel fresh. So that gave me confidence going into the 13K. And then once I finished that 13K, I was tired, but I'm like, it would have taken me, a long time, but I was like, I think I could have done 26K. 26K. So I was like, I wouldn't have been fast, but my legs were still there, and I think I could have done it. So that's confidence boost for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, to know that there was still something left in the tank when you finished.
And just noticing that your fitness is improving.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah, I woke up the next morning because I was worried. I'm like, how sore am I going to be? And I was sore, but I've been more sore before. So it's like, I could have pushed a little bit farther, but that's
the
fine.
Best.
Yeah.
I know about you, or both of you, but I feel like in high school, I was always like so proud when I like wrecked myself and I couldn't walk up the stairs. And now I'm like, if I wreck myself that bad, I'm like embarrassed. I'm like, oh, that's... it's like, because a sign of fitness is like recovering really fast. So I'm like, when I can't walk up the stairs, I'm like, dang, that's embarrassing.
Yeah, the stairs are not fun right now. My quads are pretty sore.
I had a big race this weekend too. I can relate to that.
Yeah. So, Dakota, what often with the training, you start to get into the grind of it, and there's days where you just don't want to do it, where that run, that workout, whatever is on the plan is,
you get out of the like honeymoon phase.
Yeah. Have you had any of those days hit, or have you been thinking about what you're gonna do when those days hit and how you'll handle it, and basically be able to still tackle those days?
Yeah, I mean, one day that sticks out in my head, at work, I think I did like 20,000 steps at work. So that's roughly, I don't know, 8 to 10 miles or something like that.
Yeah.
And then I got off at like 11 p.m. and I just did not feel like it. I'm like, I tried in my head, I was like, you've already done 10 miles. Like, you can skip your run tonight. And then I've realized that that's the worst thing I can do for me, because then I'm like, no, the fact that you even thought about that, we're going to do it. Now you have to. There's no option. So yeah, that night I got out, and like the run actually ended up feeling pretty good. It was cool, nice and cool outside. I'm like a very hot natured person, so the colder the better for me. And yeah, that run felt really good, and I was proud that I didn't skip that day.
That's awesome. I love that. And sometimes if you let yourself skip, then it's easier to skip the next time.
Yeah.
So that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's probably, I feel like, especially this early, the biggest thing that I'm doing is building a habit. And then from there, once the habit's built, then it'll be a lot easier just to show up and push harder. So
totally.
Right now I'm just building the habit.
That's beautiful. I love that. Have you read James Clear's Atomic Habits?
I have read about half of it.
Okay.
It's up in my I have a little place where I put all my books. It's up there. I just kind of stopped. I didn't build that habit.
You know, it's I hear a lot of people say that. Anyways, I'm just gonna recommend it if you haven't. Anyways,
I might read it once we get off of this. Start dabbling back into it.
heck yeah.
No. Well, Dakota, I know you're only a month into it. Have you felt any sort of change come upon you in even just this 1 month?
Um, yeah, I mean, it's kind of weird, especially like one day I tried climbing Eldon, which is the tallest point on the Cocadona map or route,
Yeah.
and like that day, it was I don't know. I was on that trail for like 3 hours, and there's so much like thinking and like I don't know. I ended up in like a really deep thinking headspace, and I was just like, it's all about just putting one foot in front of the other. Because if, and this is like a great analogy for the whole like Cocadona thing. Whenever I was going up that, and if I looked too far ahead, I'd be like, it looks impossible, and that's when like the self doubt would start to kick in. But if I just kept my head down and like looked at every step in front of me, and all of a sudden I would look up and I'm like, oh, I've made it way farther than I would have if I was like trying to focus just on the top. Because that was whenever I would get like really, yeah, I'd start to doubt. And yeah, so that's one big thing I've experienced is like it kind of my thought process is changing a lot, I
Yeah.
guess. And then just kind of making things like it's just common sense to me now. It's like just put one foot in front of the other, and eventually you're gonna get there. And
Yeah.
yeah,
That's awesome. As you say that, like that from looking back at my ultras that I've ran and, obviously just life in general, with that kind of mindset, like that is the mindset we have to have. Because when we look at the end goal, it just it gets overwhelming and you're like, I can't, that's impossible. Like I'm all the way down here. How am I supposed to make it up there? And like with a 100-mile race, I remember our first 100, we nearly dropped when we started thinking about like we still have 40 more miles to go, and we're already
we realized we couldn't think that way.
yeah. And it just overwhelmed us. It overwhelmed us. But when we started thinking, you know what, I'm just trying to make it to like the next aid station, which is in like 5 miles. I can do that. I can get there, I might not be able to get to 100 miles, but I can get there. But then all of a sudden you surprise yourself, and all of a sudden you're at 100 miles, or hopefully for you, you're at Flagstaff, Arizona, at 250 miles down. So
Well, it's kind of like I feel like we've all experienced this too, where we're like, okay, once I get to that tree, I'm going to start walking. And then you get to the tree and you're like, actually, I can keep going. I'll start walking when I get to that tree. And then you get to that tree and you're like, actually, I don't think I need to walk, and you never actually end up walking.
yeah.
Yeah, that's something I've definitely experienced. Like I was doing times like okay, you're gonna run for 2 minutes and walk for one or whatever, but I started doing like like more visual things, and I realized like I'll get there, and I'm like I'm just gonna keep running a little bit farther, and then before you know it, like you're actually you're impressing yourself with like what you're able to do. So it's really cool.
And then it's like you get a little dopamine kick because you're like, whoa, I did that. And then it gives you more energy, and then you do more. And it's just this like beautiful cycle,
Yeah.
Well, before we let you go, Dakota, what advice do you have for people out there? Because I know we do have a lot of these listeners. I'm calling you guys out. What advice do you have for people out there who want to like run 100 miles, want to do like Cocadona 250?
They have a big goal.
They struggle to pull the trigger to start the journey.
Yeah, I mean, at least for me, it was like kind of like what we just talked about. I wasn't even by the time I decided like, okay, I'm gonna try this, I wasn't even looking necessarily like or even thinking about like how am I gonna do it. It was more like I'm just gonna do it. I'm just gonna start, and the how will come. But my why is is solid.
Yeah.
And it reminds me of this video somebody sent me on Instagram, and it's like when the why is strong, the how becomes easy. So that's probably the big thing. Just know your why and just get started, and don't let like doubt creep in. And because there's going to be questions you don't have the answers to, especially if they're big goals like this. And if you let those unanswered questions stop you, then you'll never, I feel like that's probably the recipe for failure is being too concerned with how you're going to make it happen rather than just getting started and addressing those hows whenever they come up.
That's awesome. And if you let those unanswered questions stop you, then those unanswered questions remain unanswered, right?
Yeah.
Don't let the how stop you. I love that.
The title of our episode.
Anyways, well, thank you, Dakota. Where can our listeners follow you on your journey if they want to see how it progresses for you?
Yeah, so I have my TikTok, which is Koda, KODA.runs with a Z. Instagram is the same thing. And then YouTube is Koda_runs with a Z. So that's all of my socials right now. YouTube's probably going to end up being a long form thing, like where I do more like, breaking down my training, and it's going to be longer form content eventually. Right now I'm posting my reels on it. So really Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, whichever one you prefer, all the content's going to be pretty similar right now.
Perfect. And we'll put all of that in the show notes.
Yeah.
That sounds great.
Well, thank you, Dakota. We look forward to seeing you on that live stream there. Seeing you coming to the finish line there in Flagstaff. I know.
I wish we could be at the finish line with like Dakota t-shirts and like film figures and
I'm sure he's gonna have people there.
Yeah, you'll have the fanfare.
The foam fingers.
Yeah, that says Dakota's number one.
Anyways, well, we really appreciate you taking the time and sharing your story with us tonight.
Yeah, I really appreciate y'all having me. This is awesome. And yeah, we should definitely stay in touch.
So big thanks goes out to Dakota for sharing his journey on how he's getting started. And if you do not follow him on TikTok, Instagram, whatever platform he has, we have his handles listed in our show notes. So make sure you go check that out so that you can follow his journey, because he posts stuff every day. It's so good. And it's very inspiring and helpful to help us in our progress towards our 100-mile races. So go check that out. Thank you, Dakota, for coming on the pod. You're kicking butt. Keep it up. Don't worry about the hate. You got this. Lastly, guys, I just want to share that if you are looking for help for your 100-mile race, we can help you. Melody has helped numerous people finish their first 100-mile race. Having a coach is so valuable in progression. I know it has helped me progress exponentially in the last few years as Melody has coached me. Anyways, I can't stress it enough that, you can do it by yourself. That's fine. But if you want some guidance, a little extra help, want to do it a little quicker maybe, coaches are very, very helpful. So we are accepting clients. You can apply for our coaching at trailto100.com/coaching. And if we are a good match, hopefully we can have some fun together. Melody's the head coach. I'm the assistant coach. And we have good times with everyone that we coach and cheering them on to their first 100-mile finish. So anyways, go check that out. Thank you guys for joining us today here on the podcast. And remember, if you want to run 100 miles, make it happen.